Hello everyone. I hope you're ready to solve the questions from Macbeth Act 4 Scene 3. I hope you have already watched the line by line explanation of this scene that I have uploaded. If not, make sure you watch it. I'll be adding the link towards the end of this video. Okay, now let's start solving the questions. The first question. Malcolm said, "Let's find a desolate shade and there weep our sad bosoms empty." Does Macduff agree with him? So the answer is no. What does Macduff say? He says, "Let's rather hold fast our deadly sword and like honorable men defend our fallen homeland." So when Malcolm says, let's now sit and cry and grieve about what has happened to Scotland, and Macduff is saying, no, we should seek revenge. We should take our sword and defend our motherland or homeland. Okay, going to the next question. Which among these did Macduff not mention? A. New orphans cry. B. New widows howl. C. New sorrows strike everyone's face on earth. Or D. Heaven feels Scotland's anguish and cries out in pain. So you have to say among these which was not mentioned. And the answer is yes, option C. If you remember, he says, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, and that it resounds as if it felt with Scotland and yelled out like syllable of dollar. So it is sorrow that strikes heaven on the face and not everyone's face on earth. So that is the answer that was not mentioned. Next, what I believe I will veil, what no believe, and what I can redress as I shall find the time to friend, I will. So who says the following to whom? So these words were said by Malcolm, and Malcolm says the following lines to Macduff. Correct. Does Malcolm trust Macduff? Prove. So does Malcolm trust? No. Malcolm says that the tyrant Macbeth, whose name is so awful that it can cause blisters in our tongue, was once considered honest and you have loved him well. So, what is he telling? Malcolm is telling Macduff that once Macbeth was considered honest and you have loved him well. And what is Malcolm saying? I am inexperienced, and you can, in order to win Macbeth's favor, betray me and offer someone poor and innocent like me as a sacrificial lamb to satisfy an angry god like Macbeth. So Malcolm does not trust Macduff and he's saying, you can betray me and you can use me like a sacrificial lamb in order to win Macbeth's favor. So therefore, I do not trust you. So this part is important. So make sure you study this well. Moving to the next one. What reason does Malcolm initially give for doubting Macduff's loyalty? A. He has left his family behind. B. He was once an ally and a great friend of Macbeth. C. He has nothing to lose and only gain by the downfall of Malcolm. D. He was a spy and even supported King Duncan's murder. So you have to tell me what was the reason that Malcolm initially gave for doubting Macduff. And the answer is option B. He says, right, You have loved him well. So once upon a time, you were great friends with him and he has not touched you yet. So he has not harmed you. Next, angels are bright still, though the brightest fell. What is Malcolm trying to imply here? A. Even if one great person turns evil, there still exist other good beings. B. There is possibility of good existing even if evil exists in the surrounding. C. Even if Macbeth, who was once considered good, can turn evil, the existence of goodness is not diminished. Or D. All of the above. And the answer is all of the above. It all means the same, that even if one person turns evil, there still exist other good beings. Next question. Malcolm says, let not my jealousies be your dishonor, but mine own safeties. You may be rightly just, whatever I shall think. So, what did Malcolm ask Macduff that made him say, don't take my suspicion as an insult? Can you recall the answer? Yes, Malcolm had questioned Macduff as to why he left his wife and children in raw haste and left them unprotected. That too, the most valuable thing in his life, those strong bonds of love. He also asked how Macduff could abandon them. So after he says this, Malcolm says, please don't let my jealousies be your dishonor, but my own safety. You may be rightly just whatever I shall think. The next question is a very important question. So that is why I have written it in bullet points. So please make sure that you pay attention here. So I have clubbed all the points and written together. In order to test Macduff's loyalty, what does Malcolm tell him? First, Scotland will suffer worse evil when he has Macbeth's head under his foot or on the end of his sword. Under the reign of the king who succeeds Macbeth, Scotland shall suffer more than before. So this is the first thing that Malcolm tells, that Scotland will suffer worse under the reign of the king who succeeds Macbeth. Then he says that he has so many vices that when people see them exposed, evil black Macbeth shall seem like snow or shall seem pure, and poor Scotland shall call Macbeth a sweet lamb when they compare Macbeth and Malcolm's infinite evils. So he's saying that he has a lot of vices, and when that get exposed, Macbeth is going to seem like snow compared to Malcolm's infinite evils. The next point is, though Macbeth is guilty of every sin that has a name, Malcolm says that there is no end to the desires he has and it is insatiable. That means cannot be satisfied by anyone. He says that his desires would overpower all restraints and anyone who stood in his way. So here he's saying that he has insatiable desires and he cannot control the desires, that these desires would overpower all restraint or control and anybody who stood in his way. Then he says he is extremely greedy and he has an insatiable greed. That if he were king, he would cut off nobles for their land, steal their jewels and other palaces. And the more he has, the more greedier he would get. So first he talks about insatiable desire, then he talks about extreme greed. Then he would invent false and unjust quarrels with his good and loyal subjects, destroying them so that he could get his hands on their wealth. He also says that he has none of the qualities necessary to be the king. He lacks qualities such as justice, truth, stability, generosity, patience, courage, mercy, humility, perseverance, and so on. Instead, he overflows with different vices. So he's saying he has none of the qualities that is required to be a good king. Then he says, if he has the power, so he's saying that he will destroy all peace. Also, he would destroy universal peace and end all unity on earth. So these are the various aspects that Malcolm tells to Macduff so that he can see and check his loyalty. Next, I grant him bloody, luxurious, avaricious, false, deceitful, sudden, malicious, smacking of every sin that has a name. What is the intention behind Malcolm mentioning all this about Macbeth? A. To convince Macduff that it is impossible to defeat Macbeth. B. To praise Macduff's honesty. C. To show that he is aware of Macbeth's traits. Or D. To prove that Macbeth is not fit to rule Scotland even if he attempts to appear virtuous and to justify rebellion. So why is Malcolm mentioning all of these traits about Macbeth? The answer is D, to show that Macbeth is not fit to rule Scotland and also to justify rebellion against him. Next question. Macduff says, boundless intemperance in nature is a tyranny. It hath been the untimely emptying of the happy throne and fall of many kings. So, what does it mean? So, what does Macduff trying to tell? A. If a person is a tyrant, they can kill others and snatch the throne. B. Do not be fearful to snatch what is yours. C. Extreme greed and lust is a kind of tyranny. Or D. Greed and lust has caused the downfall of many kings. What is the answer? The answer is option C and option D. So he's saying extreme greed and lust is a kind of tyranny which has caused downfall of many kings. Yes. Next one. When Malcolm says that he has insatiable lust, what does Macduff reply? A. That Malcolm seems unfit to be the king. B. You don't seem to be the villain that you portray yourself to be. C. The evil you describe has driven me out of Scotland. My hope ends here. D. Malcolm can satisfy his desire in secret and yet appear virtuous and deceive everyone. So can you recall what Macduff replies when Malcolm says that he has insatiable lust? He tells that Malcolm can satisfy his desire in secret and yet appear virtuous in front of everyone. Now quickly moving on to the next question. When Malcolm mentioned about his unsatiable greed, what does Macduff reply? So I'm giving you a hint. This avarice sticks deeper, grows with more pernicious root than summer seeming lust, and it hath been the sword of our slain king. yet do not fear. And then he gives the answer. So I hope you can remember. So now what does Malcolm say about his unsatiable greed? A. Greed is worse than lust because it is less easily uprooted and you won't outgrow it. B. Greed is a common quality among kings and not to worry as it is temporary. C. Do not worry, Scotland has enough treasures to satisfy you. D. Greed has caused death of many kings. So one thing that Macduff says is greed is worse than lust because it is less easily uprooted and you won't outgrow it. But do not worry, Scotland has enough treasures to satisfy you. Next, after all that Malcolm mentioned about himself, does Macduff think that Malcolm is fit to govern? A. Macduff still thinks that Malcolm is fit to govern. B. Macduff believes that Malcolm is not even fit to live. C. Macduff says that the legal heir to the throne is a cursed man and disgrace to the royal family. Or D. Macduff is appalled and at the same time impressed by Malcolm's passionate outburst. Have you marked your answer? So the answer is option B and option C. If I have to quote exactly what Macduff says, he says, fit to govern, no, not to live. Our nation miserable with an untitled tyrant, bloody captured. When shall thou see thy wholesome days again? Then he says, since that the truest issue of thy throne by his own interdiction stands accursed and does blaspheme his breed. So he's saying that the legal heir to the throne is a cursed man who has agreed himself and is a disgrace to the royal family. Next question. Which among these is not mentioned by Macduff? A. With an untitled tyrant, when shall we see wholesome days again? B. If Macbeth continues to reign, he shall uproar universal peace and confound all unity on earth. C. The royal father, King Duncan, was a most sainted king. D. The queen was often on her knees, that her legs, as she led a pious life. E. You are the reason I was banished from Scotland. So which among these is not mentioned by Macduff? Have you marked your answer? Okay, so Macduff already says with an untitled tyrant who is Macbeth, when shall they see wholesome days again? So this answer is mentioned. If Macbeth continues to reign, he shall uproar universal peace, confound all unity on earth. Now this is not told by Macduff. This is what Malcolm tells, that he shall uproar universal peace and confound all unity on earth. So this is one of the answer. He does mention about King Duncan being a sainted king and the queen was often on her knees. She led a pious life. He does not say, you are the reason I was banished from Scotland. So this is the other answer. So the two answers that were not mentioned by Macduff is option B and option E. Next, Malcolm says, Macduff, this noble passion, child of integrity, hath from my soul wiped dash. So what has it wiped? A. The worry about how I will defeat Macbeth. B. Modest wisdom and over credulous haste. C. the taints and blames I laid upon myself? Or D, the black scruples and makes him believe that Macduff is trustworthy? And the answer is option D. Malcolm says, right, Macduff, this noble passion, child of integrity, hath from my soul wiped the black scruples, reconciled my thoughts to thy good truth and honor. So now I believe that you are trustworthy and honorable. Next, what has made Malcolm use modest wisdom and prevents him from over-credulous haste? The answer is the devilish Macbeth had tried many times to trick and lure Malcolm into his power. Therefore, he is cautious and does not trust anyone quickly. So, because the devilish Macbeth had tried many times to trick and lure him into Macbeth's power, this prevents him from trusting people too easily. That is why he uses modern wisdom and prevents him from over-credulous haste. Next, when Malcolm says, I put myself to thy direction and unspeak mine own detraction, what shift is shown in the behavior of Malcolm towards Macduff? A. Malcolm takes leadership over Macduff. B. Malcolm still doubts the intentions of Macduff. C. Malcolm reveals his trust in Macduff's integrity. Or D. The two agree to part ways and seek help elsewhere. So, once Malcolm has trust over Macduff, what does he say? May God show my truthfulness to you, and I will let myself get directed and guided by you, and I take back whatever I said about myself before. So, the answer is Malcolm reveals his trust in Macduff's integrity. The next question. Which among these is not a real trait of Malcolm? A. He is never an oath breaker. B. He is yet unknown to women. Option C. He wouldn't betray anyone except for the devil. D. The lies he told about his character are the first lies he ever spoke. E. He has barely cared about what he owns, much less to what others own. So you have to tell me among these which is not a real trait of Malcolm. So yes, he is never an oath breaker. He doesn't break an oath. He is yet unknown to woman. Yes, he is a virgin. Then the lies he told about his character are the first lies he ever spoke. Yes. He says, I barely care about what I own, much less to what others own, so I will never snatch from others. So here he says he wouldn't betray anyone, not even the devil. So that is what he says, not except for the devil. So he's saying he would not even betray the devil. So this is not a real trait of Malcolm. Next, what was Macduff's reaction after Malcolm revealed his true character? A. He was furious and decided to leave Scotland forever. B. He did not believe when Malcolm revealed the truth. C. He was silent. D. He found it difficult to accept the good and the bad things happening simultaneously. So what was Macduff's reaction after Malcolm revealed his true character? Was he furious? No. There was nothing about belief there. Yes, he was silent. So he asked him, why are you silent? So he says that he is finding it difficult to accept the good and the bad things happening simultaneously. Next, what power does King of England have? A. Uniting enemy countries. B. Gift of prophecy. C. Healing the sick with his touch. Or D. Knowing the outcome of war through divine intervention. So the power that the King of England, King Edward, have is the gift of prophecy as well as healing the sick with his touch. First they mention healing the sick with the touch, but they also say that along with this strange power, he also has the gift of prophecy and various other abilities. Next, all these signs mark him as a person graced by God. What all ability does King Edward have? How does he cure them? Can someone learn this from the king? So there are 3 questions. Let's see what are all the answers for this. King Edward can cure people with strange conditions like swollen and painful ulcers and conditions that is beyond the help of medical treatments or surgery. He places a gold coin around their neck and says a holy prayer. It is said that he will bequeath this ability of healing to his royal descendants, and along with this power, he also has the gift of prophecy and many other abilities. So what does he do? He places a gold coin around their neck and says a prayer, and that is how he heals people with various conditions that is beyond the help of surgery or any medical treatment. And he will be bequeathing this ability of healing to his descendant. Next, an hour's age doth hiss the speaker. Each minute teems a new one. Who says the following lines? So, what is the meaning of this sentence? An hour old news is still old news. Every minute something terrible happens. Is it A. Ross, B. Macduff, C. Malcolm, or D. Messenger? So when Malcolm asks what is the newest grief, it is Ross who gives this answer. Moving to the next one. When Ross was coming here to transport the tidings, what rumor did he hear? A. That Macbeth is preparing for war with 10,000 soldiers. B. Many honorable men are preparing to rebel against Macbeth. C. Even women are ready to join the fight to free themselves from Macbeth's tyrannical rule. Or D. All of the above. So what all rumor did he hear? Yes, Macbeth was preparing for war, but is it with 10,000 soldiers? No. Yes, many honorable men are preparing to rebel against Macbeth. Every woman is ready to join the fight to free themselves from Macbeth's tyrannical rule. So the answer is B and C, not all of the above because of this condition, which is not fulfilled. Next, who is the older and the better soldier, none that Christendom gives out? Is it A. Seward, B. Malcolm, C. King Edward, or D. Macbeth? So if you remember, Malcolm says, there is no soldier more experienced or successful than Seward in the entire Christian world. So the answer is option A. Next, What is the news that Ross shares that would be howled out in the desert air where no one should hear it? A. That Macbeth's army is on the move. B. Scotland sighs, groans, and shrieks with death and violent sorrow is common. C. Macduff's wife and children were slaughtered. Or D. That Macbeth was the one who killed King Duncan. So, what was the news that would be howled out in the desert air? The answer is that Macduff's wife and children were slaughtered. If Ross would mention the way Macduff's family was murdered, what would happen to Macduff? A. He would take his sword and seek revenge. B. His ears would bleed from the painful words. C. The words would struck Macduff's ears like thorns and draw blood. D. It would cause so much pain that it would kill him too, and his body would have to be added to the pile of corpses. So if Ross would mention the way how the family was killed, the answer is it would cause too much pain to Macduff that his body would also have to be added to the pile of corpses. After listening to the terrible news, Malcolm says, "Grief that does not speak whispers the overfraught heart and bids it break." What does Malcolm want Macduff to do? So Malcolm asks Macduff to never pull your hat upon your brows. So what does he mean? To not keep his grief hidden. He asks him to put his sorrow to words, because if grief is kept inside, it will keep whispering in his heart until it breaks. So he's asking him to put his sorrow into words. Next, how does Malcolm want Macduff to react after listening to this awful news? A. To take revenge in order to cure this awful grief. B. To fight it like a man. Or C. Let the anger sharpen his sword and transform the grief into anger. Or D. All of the above. And the answer is all of the above. That is how Malcolm wants Macduff to react after he gets to know that his entire family has been killed. Macduff says, "Sinful Macduff, they were all struck for thee. Not that I am, not for their own demerits, but for mine." So what does Macduff mean by this? A. He becomes indifferent to his losses. B. He resolves to leave Scotland forever. C. He does not want to get entangled in revenge anymore. Or D. He blames himself for their death. The answer is option D. If you remember, he says, "Wicked Macduff, they were killed because of you. They have been slaughtered because of you and not because of anything that they did." Next, "Oh, I could play the woman with mine eyes and braggart with my tongue, but gentle heavens cut short all intervention." So what does Macduff want to do now? So Macduff says that he can go on weeping like a woman and brag about how he is going to take revenge. But he asks gentle heaven to not keep him waiting and bring him face to face with Macbeth, who is now the devil of Scotland, and to keep him within his sword's reach. But he also says that if he manages to escape, then heaven forgive him too. Then heaven forgive him too. So here him means Macbeth. So if Macbeth manages to escape, then heaven forgive him too. So the next question. Within my sword's length set him. If he escapes, heaven forgive him too. So how does this line reflect on justice? A. Macbeth feels only revenge can give justice. B. He leaves Macbeth's fate to divine judgment. C. Macduff is doubtful about his abilities. Or D. Macduff is not bothered about personal revenge but wants Scotland's liberty. So, the answer is B. He leaves Macbeth's fate to divine judgment. So, if he manages to escape, because I am not going to allow him to escape because I wanted to seek revenge. But if he manages to escape, then he's leaving the fate to divine judgment. Next, Malcolm at the end says, the night is long that never finds the day. What does he mean? A. It is difficult to survive the period of grief. B. A person without revengeful attitude will never find light. C. The dark period is not endless and will eventually give way to a better period. Or D. Those who don't have aim will feel despair throughout their life. So the night is long that never finds the day. The meaning of this is the dark period is not endless. The dark period will end and will eventually give way to a better period. So he wants to say that a new day will dawn. So we will seek revenge and Macbeth's tyranny will come to an end. And that is the end of all the questions. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end. I hope you're thorough with this scene. All the very best for your examination. Study well and keep revising. Thank you.